All right, so here's the deal. You're probably wondering why this guy from Northern Ontario, Canada is standing in front of the beaches here, this ocean in Southern California, because I am just south of San Diego, staying in that beautiful resort up there in a place called Encinitas, California, because I've been fortunate enough to be invited here by GMC to test drive a couple of their brand new refresh trucks. The one I'm going to talk about today, though, is the brand new Denali Ultimate, cream of the crop, top trim level. There isn't much more you can get in a truck. I'm going to tell you and talk about how the drive was in it, is in it, not to mention show you some of the SuperCruise features in this truck on the freeways here in Southern California. So with that, let's get going. All right, before I go too far, I do have to apologize for my voice. I've been losing it. I've been sick since my arrival back from San Diego, unfortunately. But what I want to talk about before we get into the deep dive of all the cool things that make the Denali Ultimate what the Denali Ultimate is, I also got the opportunity to actually, of course, as I talked about at the top of the video, give this truck a drive. Now, unfortunately, due to the time I arrived in California and the amount of time I had with the truck, I didn't get as much time as I would have liked, but I did get more than enough of a taste to talk about some of the things that I found truly amazing about this new truck. First and foremost, the quietness of the cab. I mean, we have, I don't want to use other brands, but we have Buick quietness inside this truck, at least as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that goes without saying, on top of the fact that it had the beautiful ride, thanks to the adaptive ride control suspension. It didn't really matter what tray we went on. There was some construction on the I-5 that we were on, and had some bumpier areas, and really we weren't really noticing it. Again, I think obviously that smooth drive, the suspension is also what's contributing, of course, to obviously the quietness within the cab. And then of course, sitting in the seat, now what it's basically using is what they call the Alpine Umber. It's a full grain leather, so it does have a different feel than what I've ever noticed in other trucks, pardon me, the current AT4 or the current Denali. For example, I did notice the comfort of the seat, aside from obviously the great looks of it, which we're going to talk about as this video goes on, but I did notice a great comfort more so in the seat. And one of the things I talked to one of the higher up people at General Motors, but I don't want to throw names out there, but one of the higher people actually at GMC about was the fact that the attention to detail, which I did notice, and again, we'll talk about as we get into the truck, in the rear seat. Now, for the rear seat passengers, one of those things that I think sometimes we overlook, we're always talking about the driver, we're talking about the passenger, and of course that is obviously a main concern, but it's also a concern, I think, when we're getting into these luxury type of trucks, to be concerned with what's happening behind the driver passenger. And no detail was, spared back there either in terms of the comfort that those people are going to have. We have the full leather still back there. There wasn't any corners that were cut. Even the speakers in the back have the metal to them, so there wasn't, again, it's adding to that comfort in the back. And then, of course, obviously, one of the things that we got to try on the I-5, and again, interesting because there was construction, so the lanes were a bit narrow, we got to try the SuperCruise. And you'll hear me talk about that again later in the video, but I want to talk about it here. The SuperCruise essentially, of course, if you don't already know so, is the autonomous driving that is offered by GMC General Motors. Obviously, it started on the Cadillac vehicles, but now we're adopting it, of course, to the trucks. And man, this thing, I'll tell you firsthand, first of all, I'm not used to California. I'm not used to that kind of 4 or 5 lane driving, right? And so that's kind of nerve-wracking to begin with. And then you hit the cruise a little bit of above 70 miles per hour, and you're told to take your hands off the steering wheel. Well, I can tell you firsthand with my hands, they were right up here beside the steering wheel because I was like so anxious. And again, we're doing over 70 miles an hour, stop and go traffic. What would happen is you didn't even have to hit a signal. If it noticed somebody was slowing in front of you, it would signal itself. It would change the lanes, it would speed up, it would slow down accordingly. It knew it was coming behind it because of all the sensors in the trucks. And on top of all this, you can actually tow with this SuperCruise, which is just phenomenal to think about. You can actually tow. Now, of course, the only thing with the towing is you do have to physically signal to go and change the lane, simply because, of course, it can't tell how far back that trailer is, that that it's in the way of the sensors and so on, right? So, but aside from that, it can tow. So I think for somebody like myself, I would absolutely love it on I-75. But what's interesting I found about it is by the time I got to the end of the short time I had with the SuperCruise aspect, from the distance we were traveling on the I-5, by the time, before that was over, I noticed my hands were down at my sides, and I was actually quite comfortable with what it was doing. And I can imagine on a long drive, that would definitely reduce the amount of fatigue that you would have. So that's my drive impressions of it, but let's talk about the truck as an overall. I got a deep dive here for you. All right, so here we are all the way from Canada down here in Southern California to look at this truck right here, the all new, or at least refresh, but new model to GMC. This one is the 2022 GMC Sierra Denali
Ultimate, and that's what we're gonna look at today. And also, not only is this a new model in the refresh trim, but it's also got the new color that many of you have been asking to see. And there it is there, the titanium rush metallic. I'm gonna tell you right now, firsthand, in person, this looks fantastic. I know it has some purplish hues, especially when you're seeing it. And you may even come through this way, you know, with the camera that I'm using right now, this GoPro. I'll try and put some other footage from my iPhone too, just so you can maybe see some different hues of it. But I can just tell you right now firsthand, I would get this color, and I'm not a purple fan, just because it has some different characteristics, and that metallic flake really pops on this truck. Okay, but if you don't know about this truck, this is the cream of the crop. It used to be Denali would be the cream of the crop. Now it is the Denali Ultimate. There is no higher trim level you can get in a GMC Sierra half-ton truck than this one behind me right now. And actually, the one I have right here, this test one, does have the 3-liter Duramax turbo diesel underneath that hood. There is 2 motor offerings available with the Denali Ultimate. The standard motor is actually the 6.2 liter, 420 horsepower, 460 foot-pound of torque, or the 3-liter diesel, which also, by the way, if you didn't know so, also has 460 foot-pound of torque from a 3-liter 6-cylinder diesel. It's pretty phenomenal. All right, so let's talk about the front of this truck first. Obviously, we have some major changes in the front end from what we had seen in the prior 2019 to 2022 limited GMC Sierras, and that starts right here with the lights. So you're gonna have a lot longer, bigger daytime driving lights out here, different LED lights here. One of the biggest things I've noticed too is we used to have a quite substantial size fog light here. They've located them much further down, and they're much smaller than they were in the past, as you can see there. So I'm not sure. I kind of like that because it makes the ability to have the headlights be a bit more bold. We still do have the side curtains here, which are functional. All right, and then this one, of course, we're gonna have chrome down below. And out front here we have, they like to call this Vader chrome. I'm gonna call it dark Vader chrome. What I like about it is, I've never been a super chrome guy, and what I like about this is it has a bit of a chrome, a bit of flash to it, but it's like a black chrome. Not to mention, it comes standard with these black GMC logos. So gone away, or at least for the Denali Ultimate, are the red logos that you would normally see on the front and the back. Now, one thing I do have to say, I think that they should have put the dark Vader, that's what I'm gonna call it, by the way. I should have put the dark Vader chrome here, around the window sills, and then when we head back here too, things like the badging here, I think it would have looked nicer if they could have made all of that kind of in that, and even the exhaust tips, even if they made those darker. I just think, especially if you have a lighter vehicle, that you'll really notice that contrast pop, but it'll all blend in together a bit. I just do find it a little odd with the, you know, different chromes, but that is really nitpicking on an amazing truck. Right here, unique 22-inch custom. Let me show you on this side, we have a bit more light. Custom 22-inch aluminum wheels. They look sharp. They have like a satin finish with the with that aluminum color there in the inside. Great looking. Now, as far as standard features, this thing comes loaded with essentially everything. Basically, choices you have are like the engine and your colors, and more. Other than that, this is coming basically loaded with everything. First and foremost, of course, we still have the amazing 6-position multi-pro tailgate, right? I mean, who doesn't love that? It works so well. And as an added bonus, standard feature now is the kicker audio system that's built into that multi-pro tailgate. Another massive difference, however, this right here. This is the Carbon Pro box. Carbon fiber box back here is a standard feature, by the way, in this 5'8" box, all right? One of the things I love, if you have a dirt bike, motorbike, even a bicycle, you got those slots there, you can put it up there and you can tie it in quite easily. Tons of tie downs in this one too. Your LED lights are actually located in a different spot. If you can see here, they're up in here now. You see that over there too, as opposed to they're normally back here on a regular box. Okay, so a different location. The other thing too is kind of cool is you no more need for the wheel liners in the back, because the box is actually back there, so you're only going to have the need for the wheel liners, which of course comes standard of this truck, up here. So you got those carpeted wheel liners still happening, but they're just happening only in the front. Of course, we're going to open this door, and you're going to have right there the power boards, right? Inside, of course, though, is where the most massive difference comes in this truck. The fit and the finish with the new interior is just leagues above and leagues beyond what they've had in the past. Check out this leather interior and the fit and the finish and the stitching on this. Like, just incredible. You're still retaining that seat back opening for the storage compartment here in the back, but right up in here you can see it has This is throughout. This is actually a theme that you're going to see throughout this truck. It's a topographical map. And by the way, that's a topographical, if I can speak properly, a map of Mount Denali. Yes, what the namesake of this truck is up in Alaska. So you're going to see it there. You're going to see it on the seat backs here. Nice big full storage area back here. Okay. Of course, you're still going to have the heated seats back here for your rear passengers. Check this out though. We look up here. Full on real suede headliner. I'm telling you, listen to me, I'm telling you, this thing is above and beyond. There's the Bose stereo system speakers back here. I love that mesh kind of look they've got here. And then also you're going to see that, of course, here up front. Okay, well, actually, no, before we go with that, I have to say one thing I don't like. One little thing that I used to bash Chevy about, and again, I'm only bashing because it's not a massive deal, but it's something I noticed, and it bothers me because I have children and I like it in the middle of the back easier. And I just noticed for this year when I was doing a review on the AT4, and now I'm seeing it here on the Denali Ultimate, they've gone away from the buttons. Let's just show you here on the rear door. So see how you have your keyless entry on the front driver and passenger door? For whatever reason, GMC, and I don't know if it's because of the shortages and stuff right now, they've eliminated the buttons from the back doors. Again, it's just a nuisance. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the vehicle because of it. It's just one of those little things that I wish they would retain. And that kind of separates you from maybe Chevy, right? Where you can keep that ability to have kind of a couple little extra bells and whistles. By the way, if you didn't already know this, another little difference between the Chevy and the GMC, of course, is your right here, that trim around the wheel wells. We are getting to the front here in a second, don't worry. But I want to head around. Oh, remember that topographical mapping I was talking about? It's also built right in here along the side there as well. So as mentioned, it is located in a few spots. Now, if we head around to the passenger seat, so I want to show you because I thought I'd have maybe a bit better lighting over here. Right here, massaging seats. Yes, both driver and passenger massaging seats in this truck. And of course, of course, they're heated and they're cooled as well. Not to mention, again, going back to this whole topographical map, there is the actual location, geographic location of Mount Denali, which is again pretty impressive. And then of course, right up here also. All right, so I did a video on, oh, one more place too. Check out this open pore wood that they use for over here in the dash, not to mention here along the doors. It's just a high-end touch, right? I mean, it looks fantastic. Open that up there, and again, it has a topographical map built into that there as well, and again with the actual coordinates there also. And then the big Bose speakers here off the side, much better looking than the past. They definitely have some more character to them. And then of course you have your ultimate sill plates down here. Okay, of course, memory seats. I mean, obviously, again, a loaded truck. There's another, there's a little Denali Ultimate plate there for you. Again, the finishing touches. Again, with the topographical, man, there's a lot of that topographical map theme going on throughout this. But let's have a seat in the driver's seat here. 15-inch heads-up display. There's where you control from there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me just turn the volume down on this, by the way. Can you see that? I'm not sure if you can see it with this GoPro or not, but anyways, 15-inch screen that you know, puts things up there on the screen for you in terms of your speedometer and you have your radio station, whatever you want to change it to. Of course, the next big change is right here in front of us, right there. I'm going to talk about this little thing, by the way, in a second. But right here, that's a 12.3-inch programmable screen. So what you can do is from the controls right here, you can change this to, let's go over to where I need to be. Different layouts. So you can choose display layout, you can choose classic, progressive, digital, clean. There's a bunch of different things you can choose to change how the screen's gonna look. Here, let's give you an example. All right, so let's go to clean for example. So it changes the looks of it, and then what you can do past that is you can have different things on either side. So you can have your speedometer, sorry, not your speedometer, your tire pressure on one side, and trip meter or whatever it is on the other side. You can change that to your liking and the things that you would prefer to see. I'll go back to classic here on the actual screen. Now, past that, this right here, we need to talk about this. That button there, and this right here. This is the SuperCruise, the semi-autonomous driving system. This will not only drive the vehicle for you on the freeway, on 4-lane or more highways, in many locations. It'll do it while trailering too. So the crazy part about it is when you're not trailering, it'll actually signal for you, change lanes for you without you having to do it. If it knows it needs to pass somebody to keep your speed, it is insane. I tried it today, and again, like I say, if I can get some more footage of it, I'm definitely gonna give it to you. But worst case scenario, I've got some over footage that I can show you. But it is a phenomenal system. The technology in this truck is like is nuts. It's absolutely nuts to me. Okay, the other thing though, of course, that we've changed is right here. There's no other option in this because you're only getting the bucket seat option when it comes to the Denali Ultimate, of course, the highest trim level. And that is going to be right here, this new electric precision shift, right? I think we know that. You've probably seen that before. Using it today, I really, really like it. It's really intuitive. You get really used to it. I know there's some of you that are averse to it, but try it. Just try it first, okay? Now, because of that, because of this being down here, they've now changed the manual shift up here. So now you have paddle shift in behind the steering wheel, as opposed to when you used to have it on the gear selector over here. Then your tow haul mode has been located down here. All right, you still have your auto 2 high, 4 high, 4 low. So even though this doesn't have like an X31 package, you still have the ability to have the 4 low range. Obviously, you're gonna have fog lights, all that kind of stuff down there. Of course, heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats. I mean, this particular one doesn't look as though it's equipped. Oh yeah, I forgot, that's what I wanted to show you. Sorry, it's got the heated steering wheel button down here now, as opposed to being up here because the SuperCruise is up here, right? So heated steering wheel is now down here below your heated and ventilated seats. Nice big aluminum button here. If you didn't catch a video I've done before, this whole dash where the vents are up here, the screen's a little bit lowered, your piano keys are way down here, is different than any other trim level with the exception of the others 3. So Denali Ultimate, of course, RIN, looks like this setup with vents and everything up here. AT4X, AT4, and Denali all have this layout. Aside from that, no other GMC truck has this layout, or Chevy Silverado, even the High Country does not have this layout. So it's a unique layout to this trim level of truck. Not to mention the location of the trailer brake controller is unique to this as well, because it's located right here, as opposed to usually down on the dash here. But again, that's because this has been reconfigured, so they had to put it over here. My phone is down in here right now, but anyways, that is where the wireless charging is. Works fantastic. I have one of the biggest phones you can get, even with a big case on top of it. It fits great. Not to mention, of course, going back to our awesome right here rear view camera mirror. You gotta love that. Again, there's our suede headliner. The sunroof, yes, I know we haven't made a bigger sunroof, but you know why we haven't made a bigger sunroof? Or they, not me, I don't make these. The reason they haven't done that is simply because this isn't a whole redesigned truck. This is a refresh truck and additional features in the inside, but they didn't overhaul the roof and all that kind of stuff and the lines of the truck. In fact, the back of the truck, the side of the truck is identical to what it was in the past. It's just the front end looks, and of course, what we're looking at here inside, all these new changes in the inside that have changed for this Denali Ultimate.
Oh, and I gotta stop right here real quick, because what I want to talk about too that I maybe didn't mention during this video, because I've done it in so many others already with the introduction of this new truck, is the massive 13.4-inch color touchscreen. How could you miss that with Google integration in it? This is such an exciting upgrade to the truck, and tons of new features that you're gonna find within this screen. I'm probably gonna do a separate video just on that actually coming up, so stay tuned for that.
I can go on and on and on, obviously, and I'm gonna be doing more videos of this, especially when we get one up at Pro Chevrolet in Sault Ste. Marie. But in the meantime, I figured you'd like to have a look at this titanium rush metallic. Simply amazing. They should call this, no, I'm not even gonna say the name, but this is the highest end truck that I've ever driven, ever sat in. Rides so comfortably too, by the way. I was almost distracted by that because what we were doing today on the highway with that SuperCruise, that was distracting me because it was a bit nerve-wracking until you get used to it. But I was overlooking the fact that it was quiet and smooth, and of course tons of power. The one we checked out today actually had the 6.2 in it. But again, as you watch my channel, you know I'm a big fan of the 3-liter as well. I would love either of these engines in this truck, and I just basically love this truck in general. Any questions? Please comment below. I would love to hear from you. If there's anything I can answer that maybe I didn't go over. So until the next time, next video, take care, everybody.